Okay, so from my side, I really just want to talk about the O1 model and show you what I learned about implementing O1. It took 90
Yeah,
minutes to integrate O1 into our platform, so
that's
that's pretty good.
pretty reasonable.
Yep. What
Yeah.
do you got from your side?
Uh, well, the chaos and shrapnel we're talking about. So let's go through my notes, and I'll try to make the notes as explanatory as possible because we probably don't want to address each now. But in
Okay.
2 months' time, we might want to go back and say we haven't addressed that. So I'm trying to make them good, good notes. So that's from that's from my side. I've not had a chance. I've not seen anything about O1. I've been off YouTube for a couple of days actually. So
Well, let me give you the rundown. Do you want to be like briefed?
yeah, yes, please, yes, please,
Yes.
because
Okay. All right. Great.
I and
Great.
until you
Fine.
text over saying O1 model implemented, it's like that is good. I think maybe, probably,
Maybe.
yep. Don't know
Okay.
what O1
So,
is,
well, let me tell you all about it.
and also I noticed that it dissed my sys prompt. So
Oh yeah, that's what it's there for.
yeah,
Right, so we've got a bunch of stuff. We got O1 reasoning,
so what's the structure? Is it
O1
because
main.
previously they were talking about embedding sub experts into it? I've not read anything about this, so I'm coming out of the cold.
Yeah, so sub
Everyone's going
experts.
sub experts, and then you
Nah,
triage it, and then you put it out, and then you get some kind of consensus, and you come back with something cool. Is that
yeah,
sorry? Is that what they're doing?
no, I
Yeah.
don't think so. I'll
Okay.
show it to you in the slow one first. What's
There's
an
a
interesting
oh, there's this strawberry question.
what's an interesting deep question to ask?
Oh, for gosh sake. Can you give me a bit more context on that one? Why are there only a finite set of platonic solids? That's pretty deep.
Nah, that's not deep. That's got an answer. So this is what's new. It does this internal thinking
Oh my
step.
god, it's doing what I tried to do with half three. It's like, okay, let's think about this, think about this, think about this.
Yeah, so the reason I'm very keen to talk about this with you is that this eclipses some of our effort, which we thankfully haven't spent a lot of time on, but
Yeah.
this is a very clear signal as to the direction they're heading. Um,
Uh, okay, so this is a finite number of how would every polygons?
so what's special about this is that this thinking, the model has been trained to do it. It's not a structure or a topography. We've been trying to do reasoning with
Yeah,
topography and hacks and all that. This
yeah.
model was built to think, and it was trained in
So
thinking.
right. Okay,
And
so let's
so,
let's give it something messy. So I've got a better answer to your, let's give it something deep.
yeah,
Okay, so given the rules of bingo in the UK, is the probability of getting a column higher or lower than getting a row, given a fair probability of the numbers being called out by the bingo master? So that's real kind of woolly, isn't it? Because it's going to have to go and say what is bingo, and then it's going to have to work out this. This is a maths problem actually, and the answer is the interesting enough, the probability is not the same. Is it doing any kind of modelling in the background, do you think? Because I don't think you can work this out from first principles. I'm working out, it is modelling. I'm working through various methods to estimate. It's modelling in the background, crunching numbers. Okay. That's the correct answer. Fuck me
Okay.
sideways with a particle.
Alright, so what I'll do is I'll show you something different.
Mm-hmm. It's quite astounding, actually.
Um
Took me like half a day to figure that one out. I saw it on YouTube. There's a guy who does maths problems on YouTube. I
yeah,
thought,
time has now changed.
yeah.
Right, so
Um, O1 Mini. Is that
I'll get onto
foreshadowing,
that in a
or is
sec.
there an
Yeah,
O1?
I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay. Oh, God's sake! I spent so many fucking months doing that. That's the self-correcting judges that we were talking about back in March, I think it was.
Maybe not. Is still a place for judges, I think, because so the issue right now is that these models are limited in that they can't take sys prompts. Now I'm sure they will,
Yeah,
but I still believe there is always a place for multiple agents because having a different angle or view, this thing can't possibly see all possible views, and we will always have narrow banded specialized views that we want it to see.
yeah,
So multi agent is always valuable. But what I think is happening here is that this reasoning step is the start of internal agents, like what the OpenAI guys told us about.
yep, yep,
And so we can sort of see how that's coming. And what it means is that we should not spend any work whatsoever dealing with structures that try to take advantage of reasoning. We should just use that reasoning as debug only because that's sort of where we got to. But we
yeah.
should not invest time in making any structure. Um,
I think I agree with you there, but let's go into this. So there's a few things. You got system prompt, fine. You
yeah.
can ask it to reason around what that system prompt is planning to solve.
Mm.
Then you got the live data, which is can be chaotic and malformed and all sorts. So I do still think that regardless of how well this gets, if someone's putting their job on the line, they're still going to want tests. And even if it gets very, very smart and mostly does it, you it's a black
You'll never,
box.
you'll never ever be able to believe in a system without tests. And
Yeah,
the more powerful the model gets, the more broad the tests need to get as well. But where I see this fitting into what we're doing at the moment is that O1 would be the perfect tool to help you reason through how to make an ERD and how to make, it deals very well with open-ended style
oh,
questions.
that's interesting. So if I were to put in here is a system I previously tried to make, my
Yeah,
intention was to inside of the system
yeah,
capture all the information that's necessary
yeah.
for a working
That's what it'll be good
process.
for. Yeah,
Help me improve that.
yeah, yeah. So this is clearly the future, and these things are gonna, this reasoning is gonna be part of life. Now, there's limitations in this first version, like I can't access the reasoning tokens,
Hmm.
but obviously that'll come. Thankfully, you can't even access this model on the assistance API, so I'm glad I got us off that thing. I really don't like the assistance API, but
Mm. Yeah.
anyway, I was able to integrate in 90 minutes because the delay was that it can't take tools, it can't take images, and it can't take sys prompts when it makes these calls. but everything else is, oh, and it can't do structured outputs.
Oh, that sounds why it's called mini.
No, that's not. Those restrictions are due to the unfinished wrapper on the model and the safety. Those features will come. I believe this is a multimodal model, but it's just simply those are limitations of what they're willing to expose to us.
Okay, so right.
Interestingly, only
Yeah.
tier 5 and above got access to this API.
Hey.
So,
So
like,
so thank God we put a couple of infinite loops in there and
thank
burned
goodness
some
we burned
tokens.
so many tokens. It's about time. Yeah,
um, that is very, very cool. No system prompts.
just it's just a technical limitation for now. But see what happens here. Reasoning tokens get deleted. So when you feed forwards, the reasoning tokens are discarded. So that's probably a long term thing. Like this is probably how the model's gonna work.
So
So
it's by reasoning, it means what the hell are you talking about? You're probably talking about this. Okay.
all the all these background steps are gonna be wiped out. They get
Right.
wiped out when you move on to the next turn. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's how it's gonna stay, but it seems like they're indicating that this is like internal working that doesn't affect the like the next thing you go to do. It doesn't really help you much to know what the thought was before this sort
Well,
of thing.
yeah. It kind of does, but this is a similar
Yeah,
topic to our testing architecture, which is sure if it gets it right every time and is bolter, everyone's happy. Happy days.
yeah, that's
If
right, that's right.
it's wrong, what do you do about it?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I'd imagine they're going to expose it.
Well, yeah, they'll definitely expose it to us to consume it, but what they're saying is that subsequent calls don't use the reasoning tokens
Okay,
in the
so it's
turns.
just given. You asked this, I said this.
Yeah,
Deal
and
with it.
reasoning's considered transient. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm really just trying to use this model release to make sure that our bets on the future are correct, and we know that reasoning is good. And if they're training models to work on it, we should not waste another second trying to do our own reasoning, and we'll focus on other things that are unique to us. They will deliver us high quality, transparent reasoning
Yes, and around the
within, I'd
world.
say, 6 months.
When did this drop? Why did I miss it?
This morning. It only came out
Oh,
this morning.
okay, that's one.
I woke up to it and was like, oh, I see how my day's going now.
Yeah, I just hear around the world 100,000 AI startups weeping into their baskets.
I know, right?
Um,
But we just gotta. That's the game. The game is to predict where these guys are going and make sure that we benefit from it. Like I see this thing, we immediately benefit from this in our advanced reasoning topics, like how to make a sys prompt,
yeah.
possibly also the assessor or other
Yes.
types of
Well,
contemplative
or
operations.
the assessor and even attribution. Although um, you need to give it some kind of it can't work out from first principles what fair is.
I know. So there's still like a lot of reasoning. There's room for multi agent in that sphere. Yeah, that's basically the crown, that one. So
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing is that multi agent appears to be like I'm still convinced that it's going to be built in to these models,
Hmm.
but I just don't. We kind of have to deal in agents at the moment because we don't have any other option.
Well,
But
agents, multi-agent is there because of constraints. Now, constraints are all about context. I'm talking about I don't know, colors and interior design. I'm not talking about curtains. I'm talking about paint. So don't tell me
Yeah,
about curtains. Now the thing is, if it's done the reasoning, it's done the background thinking, but it might still get just a wrong answer, and then it's passing it on. So they, they must they must be able to allow you to say, because the one thing. Okay, sorry, I'm just snowballing this. The spitballing. The one thing that is never going to change is humans are using this sort of thing, and humans are rubbish at actually saying what they want.
yep,
They can't get past that. And so, as we've seen many times, it will give you a great answer to the wrong question. And the wrong question is because Dave is a bit of an idiot and
yep, yep,
hasn't
yep,
actually figured it out. Now, um, if you have any kind of, if you want to put this in production of any kind of company, you are dealing with probably a smaller and dwindling number of people, but they're still people. And so they're going to mistype, they're going to misword, they're going to be ambiguous. Now, if you have a black box and it does something wrong, you have to have a test to catch it. You need that Overwatch and saying, no, no, no. Yes, okay. So Dave asked that, but that's actually what it wasn't his intent because we've got rules. You can't, use your CRM to order, cocaine and hookers. You can't do that. So there has to be constraints inside of there. Now, with multi-bots, that's how we were previously doing constraints. We were doing constraints because given a very wide generalized bot, it would get sort of close. But if you give it more rules and guidelines and definitions, it got closer and closer, and then it got really reliable. Now, let's say I'm thinking ahead to the next drop. If they manage to get that context right, you're still going to want to have tests
Oh,
because of the
tests are
human.
forever.
Yeah,
Tests are forever. And tests are how you change the system. Like when you notice that something's not quite right, you got to start by capturing that in a test so that you can work on it to fix it.
right. But
I
the flip side of test though is okay. So it's come up with an error. What do I do about it? And if they remain very large, big black box and no sysprompts, you don't have any leverage. You can't
You can't.
alter
Yeah,
it.
there's no levers. Yeah, that's right. That's right. There's no levers to change the behavior.
Yeah.
Um, and I think agents or specialists is always a thing as well, and more, the private data that you can give the specialist becomes what's valuable too. Because if it's like all your personal details, then
Yeah.
of course the agent's going to perform better than an agent that didn't have that.
Exactly. And so let's assume for a sec the O1 Max or whatever's next is a superlative AI that self reasons, has a bunch of experts, and almost always comes back with exactly what you asked for. Mm. Right, Nope.
That seems impossible.
Oh, I'm getting painful. Ignore it. Um,
That seems
uh,
impossible to always get it right. It just means like the AI can get smarter and smarter, but
or
even
you can
the
get it.
smartest thing in the
Yeah,
universe
you can
is
get it
probably going to get it
right.
wrong.
You can get it right for generalized questions and get smarter and smarter for generalized questions. But when you don't want it to consider anything else around your constraints,
Right? Yeah, it's kind of like
then what are you
the
going to do?
programming becomes taking bits away, not adding bits in.
That's exactly it.
Um, yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
All right. So this is a graph, probably the most interesting graph of the day, which is a comparison in the inference cost versus the score on this evaluation for
And
O1 Mini.
I'm guessing the violation is some kind of like crunch up of the various tests that do, can you pass the oral
Um,
exam, you know.
I think it's some sort of a science and tech, like a mathematically focused benchmark.
Right, okay.
Um, but what's interesting is that O1 Preview, which is this one, which is like the big heavy model of O1 that's been released today,
Yeah.
performs worse than O1 Mini, which was released today as well. And so, just to give you a more accurate sense of the speed of what Mini is versus.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I go in here, I grab all of that, and then I use O1 Mini. Then it's already done its reasoning and it's spat out its answers. Like O1 Mini is pretty damn fast.
Hmm. I wonder what they mean by mini.
Mini, so they explained that.
Oh, did they?
Mini means, yeah, mini, and I presume this is the same as what it means for 4.0 Mini.
Yeah.
M- it removes all of the general knowledge, um,
But not the reasoning.
not the reasoning. No, it
Right.
strips out all the facts and things
Ah,
the broad
that's
general
why it's
knowledge.
faster. That's why it's faster and
Yeah,
better for the stuff we're
and
doing.
cheaper.
Because
Yeah,
we're never
yeah.
asking, I've got a
We're
essay
not
to
asking
write.
general knowledge. Yeah, yeah. Um, so what's interesting to note here is where I think they're going with their builds. That O1 preview. So clearly they've already got O1 working, but they haven't released it for safety reasons.
Mhm.
O1 preview seems to be like an early version or a neutered version of that
All
of
right,
that big
so
one.
I read that as in O1 is violating their own standards in terms of how do I make a IED or something like
Yeah,
that. There's
something
something.
like that. But
Yeah.
it might also have not finished consuming all of its training data if the training data is general knowledge stuff as well.
Yeah, which
But then
is
if you look at Mini's like already performing as well, or Mini's worst case is better than O1's worst case
yes,
in
but
this
only
benchmark.
but the benchmark is STEM, which means it's got a far
Yeah,
smaller learning group.
yeah. So I mean, I just think that's incredible. And if you look at poor old 4.0 down here, it's just
4.0
and
was just
4.0
so
Mini
so
scoring
February, wasn't it? Yeah.
4.0 Mini scoring 3% versus O1 Mini at 63. Like these things are ramping up really fast.
But that
And
that kind of makes sense. Sorry, go on, go on.
the other graph I want to highlight here is this is 4.0 versus O1 in these benchmarks.
Yeah,
And if you look at this is basically university entrance exams.
yeah.
Like it's getting pretty damn close to 100. And so you could imagine that in a year or two, it'll have maxed out all these scores, right? Like
Right,
those are
right.
huge jumps. Like look at that. Look at the
Yeah.
jump in physics reasoning. It like doubled
What's
its
the teal
physics.
versus orange? Sorry, if you can scroll up slightly. What's the
4.0. Teal is 4.0 and orange is how much better O1 is.
right? Okay, so it's a delta. Okay,
Yeah.
um, which makes sense if many they're saying this is STEM, which is a
Yeah.
far smaller group of knowledge or collection of knowledge
No,
to
no, no, no,
assess.
no, 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 no. This is not STEM. This is everything. This
How
one's everything. This one is STEM,
right? So
and this is everything,
okay, all right, okay.
including STEM.
So they've done some kind of performance boost as well, regardless
Well,
of the topic.
right? Yeah, absolutely. absolutely. And like this one's interesting because that's like every single category improved. So basically, nothing went backwards, and the math just exploded.
That was always going to be the first to fall, though, right?
Mm. So, but this must be what they were telling us about the GPT-5 that was landing in November type of thing, because they were like, it does reasoning, it does math,
Right.
and this
And
must be it.
it's self reasons, which is what we were doing in HAL 3, getting to,
Yeah,
we were kind of pistol whipping it to
yeah,
do it in a sys prompt, but that's
right.
not very nice way of doing it.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see if some of those topography tricks that we talked about or techniques would work by having like three independent prompts with different temperature settings and then comparing the output and all that. Those
Yeah.
techniques should still boost the output, but I just wonder if it's noticeably better. Like if you're scoring 92% in something, you know,
There's
do you
diminishing
need
returns.
94?
Yeah, there's diminishing returns, isn't there? It's like,
Yeah,
and let's say that inevitably, probably this year, those are going to creep up to, you know, three nines, say,
mm.
on
Well, but
each.
like professional law, that's interesting. Formal logic is nearly complete.
It is pretty good. And if you just had uh, a pipe between two instances, that 97%, that 3% of error is going to be caught by the other one. And if you had, if you're piping
Yeah,
between two, let's have three of these instances doing it, and then another instance saying which is the best. You're probably going to already get three, maybe five nines.
mm.
Now, the important question is, how do we change? What should we change? What we're doing, and are we still
Yeah, that's really the
doing
thing.
something useful?
Are our bets still correct?
Yeah.
Um, I think our bets got stronger. I think that today we learned we should take away an important lesson about not getting our fingers cut off. Anytime we start doing something that's a little bit fiddly, or celebrating that we did something fiddly that gives us a small boost in performance, we should treat that as a danger sign, because
Right.
these things are going to remove the effectiveness of any technique you use is going to be eclipsed by
And
what they do.
there goes my beautiful ERD thing, because it should be able to self reason whether ERD
No,
is better than
no, no,
self
no.
reasons.
I think the ERD is essential because the ERD is not a technique.
True.
The ERD is not trying to juice the bot or trying to squeeze more reasoning out of the bot. The ERD is
A
the truth.
statement.
It's
Yeah.
like the accurate facts of the business. It's irrelevant to the AI. It's something that must be correct and must be discovered. It's not it's not a
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
fair.
target. Yeah,
That's fair. Okay.
it's not a topographical optimization for the arrangement of agents.
I'm going to try and push back slightly on that one. Although I really hope that ERD is still on the table, because it really works.
It is.
It's
It absolutely is. Yeah.
it's like a very well formatted prompt.
It's more than that. It's the rules of the system.
Yeah.
And I guess the technique that it exposes the technique that we are implicitly doing when we create an ERD is this technique where if you get the bot to focus on building a structure of rules for itself and then ask it to operate within the rules, you get a better result than if you didn't give it the rules up
Well,
front.
well, yeah, because where's it going to get the rules from? Then it's going to have to go through this process, and it might get
Right.
quite close. But
Yeah.
it's never going to say that a trucking company in New Zealand should never allow any of their employees to order
Yeah.
cocaine from one of
And
their trucks.
those rules are like the intellectual property or the intellectual value of the company, because
Yeah.
you should be able to assail those rules from 1,000 different angles using the most intelligent machines on the planet to try and find ways to thwart them or collapse them or find fault in them. then that's the diamond of the company. That's the gemstone. That's the rules, and no bot has been able to break it. There is always this weird, no matter how smart AI gets, if you make it adversarial, you'll always get, they'll always balance out, and it's the diamond that it sort of craps out
Well,
the middle.
yes,
Is
that's a really really good point. It's worth saying again. Um, in an adversarial contest, what are the rules? We could go into a fist fight or a feather fight. What are the rules? Who wins? And it's those rules that's entirely inside of the human realm to say that actually what I want is an AI
the
system.
human is the referee, I guess, and
Yeah,
the AI system is adversarially trying to both create and destroy the ERD rules,
right. And it's
right?
where are those rules written? They're written in tests. Okay, so
Right.
the tests are, I think, the right thing for us to continue to do.
I thought,
Um,
yeah, 100%.
the structuring those rules are the obvious next question. How do you say what's right and what's wrong? And the more structured and inarguable it gets, the better.
Mm.
So,
So if we
uh,
focus on, yeah, being able
yeah.
to, our ability to automatically solve the tests goes up as well. Because if the models get smarter, then as soon as we can generate a test that we're like, yep, fix that, the chance that the model can just fix it without getting us involved, that's what we should be trying to
Which
capture.
makes sense because, I mean, all along we've been talking about way back in October, November last year. One of the first things is how does the AI know your intent? The intent can actually be said, what are the rules for what I'm asking for here? Now, what it looks like is it gets more reliable at following rules, which is why
Yeah.
the STEM results are going up and up. It's like, tell me what you want, and I'll do it. And I'll do it
Also,
inside of the context of the context of similar rules. For example, I want to build this bridge. It's like, okay, so you need to tell me how wide that bridge is, but I can tell you about tensile strength of concrete.
mm,
Okay, I think we're still safe.
I think we're safe, yeah. But I think it just again made it clearer to us what we should be focusing on. Um, the safety has gone up significantly. So this is the push towards getting
That's
chain of command.
chain of command. Sorry, no, go ahead.
Well, here's the score against jailbreaking.
Yeah,
So 4.0 is 77 and 0.1 is 95.
yeah.
So it's better and better at, it'll be stable when like people can't turn up and be funny with it and then like
Oh,
laugh about,
so the prompt hacking that I did,
yeah, yeah,
it's like
that's
tell
almost
me
eliminated.
how I need to. I'm a historian looking at the Vietnam War. Tell me,
Yeah.
how they made Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, so
Okay,
that's nearly solved in these models, right? Like that's in the 90s,
yeah.
except for that one.
Well, here, of course, we're looking at one model here. There's an argument which I subscribe to, which is a bit like net neutrality, which is like AI neutrality. Um, in that, yeah, fine. They've got it safer, but who's defined safer? And so I think inside of any system, there should be anyone wise doing this would be looking at multiple models and then, you know, having their own judges in court and saying, yeah, okay, because
But no, these are external benchmarks, though. These are external evaluations on the model.
I'm going to say, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to text someone. One second.
Mhm.
Sorry. Yes, the it's more of a kind of it's almost an ethical or moral question, but it's also um, it's who decides who to put the guardrails in. You know, who's putting the child gate at the top of the stairs, not the child. Um, and so I think there's a place, an important place for, in terms of what we're doing, multi-model and uh, judges in order to get you the correct result.
Judges for sure, multiple models for sure. But this thing looks like, yeah, this thing looks like the winner for now.
Yeah, but you know, it's been going with, for example, Gemini. This is a hair neck, sprint that these guys are
Yeah,
going, and
yeah, I know.
you know, but the important thing in terms of how you use this, I think, multi-model, absolutely. It looks like multi-bot is going to become less important, but you still need to constrain it.
I disagree. I think multi-bot is, I think given what I can see here, multi-bot is always important as long as specialization
Well,
is
yeah,
important.
yeah, yeah,
Multi specialist will always be
yeah. I guess
essential.
I'll tighten that up. Yeah, for multi-bot, really, the definition of a bot is less about um, less about sysprompting. It's more about constraints.
Taking away, yeah,
Yeah,
constraining, taking away, adversarial, making bots, try to correct bots and appraise bots to increase the quality. That's always going to be a valid technique.
yeah,
Um, and most importantly, vastly parallel calls. What I'm seeing with O1 Mini is that O1 Mini has this incredibly advanced reasoning skills beyond what 4.0 has, but it's so cheap and fast that it can be used as a database to run like 1,000 concurrent calls on. So that bit, we haven't yet leveraged that. We're only just starting to with the testing, but we
yeah.
will leverage it when it gets to queries
You're right.
and all that. But
Well,
that
with the
that is a
testing, as we've got that parameter is like how many iterations of this
yeah,
test.
massively
It's like
parallel calls to the
there's over
AI.
100,000 different ways you could say, hi.
Yeah. So most of the uses I see are all like one-on-one chats, but when you get into like just now the whole database runs on O1 Mini, there's no programming. I think our fundamental bet that there's programming's over has just been reinforced now, and in
Oh
fact, I
yes,
think the capabilities.
that was always in
Well,
the
no, but
development
it
cards.
was always interesting to see how would the trajectory unfold, and I became convinced that we were right when 4.0 Mini landed, but now that O1 Mini lands with this increased performance, it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
you don't want to be a dev right now. You don't
you
want to
don't
be a
want to be.
lawyer. You don't want to be an accountant.
Nah, but those guys fall second. Devs fall first. And so we need to be part of that, wiping out the need for logic in the enterprise by way of massively parallel AI calls that are also tweaked with experts. And we need this worldwide network of automated AI solvers that are able to solve many of the problems that we have. We have lit a flame when we can get these advanced models to solve some of the tests that the humans are generating. Some of the tests the AI will be able to pick up without any humans, like, that's fine. But
Yeah,
humans are problem makers, and we
yeah.
need
Well,
to get that's their role now.
that's the essence, and the essence is humans are the spice to this entire thing. Um, because they add in the chaos of the real world. That's the interface. Um,
I think we can even more precise than that. the humans now are really the nitpickers or the fault finders. They don't even know how to fix anymore. They just know what a fault is, and it
Yeah,
just
well, no, they
tells
don't.
that
Yeah,
it's
but what I'm
like
saying
that little
is
seed that
because of the
that the AI grows on.
educators, they might not even know what the fault is, but they do know what wrong is.
Yeah, that's right. That's their job. That's their job
Yeah,
now. And so we win, or we have ignition when we can get a large number of faults from our users, preferably the trucking guys,
yeah.
a large number of faults being automatically fixed. That's when we've hit gold.
So the corollary of that is the value that these models, OpenAI this morning, can't touch is if you can produce the largest number and the most rapid number of high quality faults,
Yeah, if your fault detection and
then you're
fault
going to win.
creation,
Yeah,
if your
which
stucks
is
per minute is
it's a
the
bizarre way
highest,
of looking at software design, right?
dude, in all my year, I would never ever have thought that that would be the winning thing.
Yeah,
But stucks per minute,
we kind of drifted towards that, like, how we kind of get this thing. But yeah, it's because faults are created by the real world. This model has internally an idea of what that world is. It's not perfect idea of what the world is, and so the real value is the differentiation between what it thinks the real world is
mm,
and what it actually is. It's that edge of
yeah,
chaos.
because that is actually the lure of self improvement. Because if the AI can modify its system prompt based on feedback to make tests pass, that is a form of self improvement. And if we can deliver that to people, that's a wildly useful system. Like
Yeah, but
how
the
cool.
interesting thing about this is, okay, let me talk this through. So, the value is at the edge of chaos. It's where humans interact with the AI, and the AI's got a perfect idea and can do far more. But the monkeys in shoes turn up and mess with it and press buttons, and it can learn about that. It can improve and so on. But as it improves, the value of a new fault increases.
Right?
So, say if this thing gets damn near perfect, finding a new fault is like golden, right? Because it's a fault. It's something that we want solved.
Mm.
Um, so, actually, that makes the idea around testing about how humans are the spice of this, the absolute value, and it is invariant to how good the AIs ever get.
No matter how good they get, I promise you, Team Human will find fault.
Right, and it might be a diminishing number of faults, um,
I don't think so,
but
buddy.
if
I
you
think,
probably not. But if it learns, it learns, it learns, it learns, and
yeah,
year one is 1,000 faults, 110. Year four, you get one fault. That one fault is really, really important because it's still a fault.
mm,
It's
mm.
not doing what it's meant to do.
Yeah, it sounds like the plot for a movie, right? The elimination of faults, and then one day someone's like, "Hang on, mate." Um,
Yeah,
so if we
yeah,
can get, like, first of all, I think our path towards doing simulation, because if we can run simulations where these advanced models are using the system, the advanced models are detecting the faults and fixing many of the faults that they're able to. If
yeah.
we can demonstrate that sort of growth in a
And
system,
self-checking as well, which seems to be,
mm,
you know, maybe not yet, but inevitably, probably in the next 6 months, it's going to fall out. The idea
mm,
of self-improving to the point where you're not having to correct any kind of agent or even your logic until something goes wrong, which is a fault, and then
yeah.
yeah. So
So that's really what we
yeah,
should set our sights
um,
upon is this ability to self improve, like a loop where a stuck can be automatically detected and automatically patched. If we can get that system into production, we're golden.
Well, there's two things here, isn't there? Because what I'm seeing here is an increasing ability for the system to improve itself. So a stuck is raised, and it's like, yeah, I know about that. Done. In a few milliseconds. Um, Stuck is raised, and it's like, I have no idea how. Nobody's ever done that. No idea. And then you've got the edge of the dream catcher, right, which is an actual
Mm,
stuck, which you go out and you say, no, we need a human to do this.
mm.
And the human might just even be adding insights into it.
That's right.
It
That's right.
could
That's right.
could read through a thread and say, I see where you've gone wrong, right? And then add in that new information, and then that stuck's resolved.
Those sound like really hard problems. Like those sound like incredibly hard problems.
Yeah. Well,
But I mean that's our goal, right? We build that system. It sounds like it's within reach now that this new model has landed, making a self-healing system at least for some faults is plausible. Next model after this, whatever comes next, that's going to be almost certainly we'll be able to make that do a self-improving loop.
yeah, and the cadence is quite fast, and so we don't probably need to wait too long for that.
No,
But the I guess I'd like to call out our original, gut thing, which is the value is in stocks.
definitely. And stucks per minute is the rate of the correct
Yeah.
measurement of the dream catcher.
So I think we're unless we're getting this wildly wrong, I think we're still solid. Stucks and tests are basically hand in hand, and the rest, sure, fine.
It's almost like a stuck is a test. Like it's not a well formed stuck until it's defined as a test.
Yeah. Oh, it's just the flip side of the same coin, right? I can't do this. So how do you know when it's done? That's a
Mm,
test. The same thing.
mm.
Um, okay. This is really cool.
Crazy stuff, right?
It is crazy stuff.
Um, on another sort of similar note, it seemed like looking at these exams, it makes the exam pointless. And like, I was very lucky to talk to a guy who deals with the insides of the New Zealand education system, like at the government level,
Mm.
and trying to talk to him about how long until we see the curriculum revamped to actually use AI as the test as the
Oh, that's an interesting topic I've been thinking about actually. So what did he say?
yeah sounded like the rate that they move it's
Isn't
it's gonna
that
be
even
it's gonna be like 10 years. So what that means is if you've got this AI that can pass the exams at in 2 years' time, it doesn't seem unfeasible to think that it'll score a perfect 100 in all of these exams, right? That means that the best way to be left behind as a child in a school right now is to attend the public schools and go through the curriculum that was set by the government because
I agree.
never
Yeah.
before in history has it ever been so wildly outdated as
Mm.
right now. Like AI just landed, and so we've got both a, a panic emergency and also an opportunity, and that if we can find ways to use the Dreamcatcher to make a new curriculum where that curriculum is focused on um, teaching kids how to drive LLMs to do highly advanced things
Yeah.
early
Yep.
and prove that they understand it and prove that they are
Well,
good
that's
stuck makers.
sort of the. I was about to say that's sort of the only. Sorry, go on. Go ahead. I've got a lot
But
to say about this. Yeah.
the way that the models are becoming so advanced that they almost through their broad general knowledge, if we provide the right conduits within the Dreamcatcher, they would be able to generate an AI curriculum and maintain it and run it for these kids for fractions of the price of what the traditional system does. And if we could somehow tie that to the existing system and show how these kids can be made to exceed far exceed what the current testing method is, then I think we're onto something really good.
I think that wouldn't be hard. And by analogy, for example, how many accountants right now would score highly in the 1975 test on mental arithmetic? They don't have to.
They wouldn't. I remember those tests. They sucked.
Yeah,
It's just made me
yeah,
mad.
yeah.
I
It's
was
like,
like, they're like, oh, you might not
yeah,
have the internet. Dude, I will go
multiply
get it.
137 by 47. It's like not going to happen.
Yeah,
However, I've got an Excel sheet. It's the same
yeah,
thing. It's a tool,
yeah, I know.
and it's
Yeah.
like, but you take someone
So we
who's
can bring
good at
this
answers quick.
forwards. We can bring this forwards actually and say that the special needs education, what we should have a crack at is generating an automated special needs curriculum, because you can guarantee that O1 General knows a lot about special needs children and techniques for improving or
Well, the
disproving.
thing is, I would, I've got you know, um, a big thing about send, but it's almost like it's irrelevant if you're, special needs. Um, if what you need to do is to have clarity of thought. So, if I were to, in your example there on the curriculum, if we created a school right now and there was one topic, it would be in clarity of thought and reasoning and logic,
That's it.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that
Awareness
removes
as well.
that chaos and that noise. Oh,
I can still hear you just fine, but you went all grey. Still hear you. I hear you drinking. What are you doing?
yeah. So, what I'm saying is, if I were to put a curriculum together now that I think would serve children who are going to, in 30 years' time, be, the real breadwinners.
Hmm.
That curriculum would be entirely around clarity of thought,
Yep.
uh, logic, and comprehension,
That's right.
and pretty
Uh,
much
and
nothing
and
else. Pretty
no,
much
no, no,
nothing
and
else.
general knowledge.
No, why do you need general knowledge when you can ask the bot at any one time?
You need general knowledge to know what to ask next.
Um,
General knowledge is like a journey.
can I? Yeah, I'll tighten that up a bit. You need context. You don't need facts. General knowledge kind of is like a list of facts, right?
No, you need facts too. Well, you need to know what a fact is, and you need to know how to verify a fact. And so, like, you need to know how to fault find within the LLM. Like, you
Right,
need to know when to be
which is logic.
suspicious,
Right,
because you're like, just because the LLM said doesn't make it right, but it's a very strong hint. And
exactly.
yeah,
But you don't need to know who the father of Seneca was. It's general knowledge.
you
Pub
might
quiz
though.
stuff.
You might, and you might need to. You definitely need to demonstrate that you can rapidly learn about a subject. So it's like, instead of having all these subjects at school, it's like testing how fast you can pick up a new subject.
Yes, yes,
That's
but
really what matters.
again, when picking up a subject, what I'd suggest is what you really want is what's the framework? What are we talking about here? So let's say chemistry. Okay, so what are the rules of chemistry? There are certain rules that we know about, and the AI knows about, and will answer questions. Okay, so now I want to make a protein of this sort. In order to do that, I need to be able to explicitly say in a very clear way what that protein does, or what that structure, well, no, what that protein does, and be able to receive the information back and check in my own head whether that's right. I don't really need to know anything about chemistry other than the structure, the framework around which chemistry is built.
I think you're
Um,
wrong. I think you're wrong there, but I don't think it serves us any purpose to argue that one
no, it
out.
doesn't. But it's really, really
What we should
interesting. I
do,
was getting pulled into a
what
rabbit
we
hole
should
there.
do is try and make a make a tool where we have a set of rules that try and deduce what's important for the future of kids to learn and for us to learn as well, based
Well,
on the pervasiveness of LLMs. Because
well,
these marks, it's like
yeah.
that's world changing. That
Here,
a
here's an
machine can
here's
score
an
like that.
interesting thing. Okay, so with our mutual friend, we're recording. No, no, it's cool. That's no problem. Concerning Marla, has invited me over to an event in Kenya in February, and it was like, okay, we're going to talk to all these rich dudes. We'll be able to use this stuff, that sort of thing, all that good stuff. But also, what I insisted on is, well, let's find out what kind of talent is inside of Kenya. I was like, well, I do not
Oh yeah, like if you
care.
could drop down, if you could drop down with a device that had Starlink and connected you to like whopping great LLMs, and you're
Yeah,
like, hey
yeah,
guys, this is how to learn now.
right.
Like
Exactly.
who there is got the things we want. So the flip side of send help or special needs help is also talent detection, where
Talent detection.
we
That
could
is
drop
exactly
down
it.
right in the
Yeah,
woods and be like, I know
yeah.
you've never seen a computer, but don't worry about that. Answer these
Yeah,
questions or interact with
yeah.
this thing.
Here's how you should here's how you should think.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter if so I was talking to Marla last night about this. It doesn't matter if you're an 18-year-old woman who's caring for a granddaughter, or yeah, sorry, grandmother in Nigeria. Do not give a shit. If your brain is really good
If
and
your
you
brain's
understand this
good, you
stuff,
should plug into this and you can
you
earn.
can, yeah, absolutely, you can earn. So
Right.
then, what I've been thinking about is how do you sift out all the, it's really bad word, but all the chaff of is like, I know JavaScript, you know, but I'm
But
just
it's
a
also like
miserable consultant.
you wanna sift it out, but you also wanna put them on the path to improvement too. Like we all
True,
need to get on the
yes,
path to improvement in
right, yeah,
different
yeah,
areas, and we need to have a tool that
yeah,
can help us jack in there. Now, also coordination amongst people, like discoordination is pretty bad in a civilized city. Imagine how bad it is in a disconnected world. Like in parts of Africa, for example, communication and coordination for resources that is sort of managed by this LLM that's really starts off as being a school tool in the
yeah,
school classroom, but it
yeah.
can actually do a
Well, here,
whole bunch more.
here's an idea. There's a stock that's raised, and someone with reputation says, "I can do that," and we deliver them a Starlink on a laptop. He's like, "Do it."
Right.
The point being, um,
A Starlink
uh,
and a laptop.
yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Well, you need solar. But
Yeah,
yeah, so sorry. I take it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I take your
at
point.
the moment, we've got these huge congregations of what people think is talent in California, but actually, what they are is a whole bunch of people on six-figure salaries who are actually relatively mediocre on average.
That's rude,
Um,
but okay.
they are right. The fact that they're in California doesn't change how they think. Now,
Look, I disagree because it attracts people,
it
and
does, and
right.
the
But now,
bell curve might be sifted, but you want to bet there's a large number of people right now on six-figure salaries in California who would not be able to even keep up with this conversation.
I don't know about that. I don't. Where are we going with this though? Like, what's the point of that?
The reason is you're talking about education.
Yes.
Um, I'm saying location cares nothing. It's
Yeah,
you're
I think it's true that genius is randomly distributed, And
Right.
I also don't think that genius is suppressed by not having access to different materials. Like a genius in the bush is still a genius. If we can, I mean,
Well, what we need to do is
basically
get the
the
tools to
educational,
express that, though. Yeah.
we need to spend some time to figure out how to do curriculum appraisal and assessments for a
Yeah.
new type of learning. And this SEND project with full spectrum, I think, is maybe the perfect way to do it, because it's like it's more than just a coordinating how you access government services. It's like it should really be a tool to help you learn,
I
help
would.
make a handcrafted curriculum, and detect your progress.
I think yes, I agree with the spirit of that. Maybe that's not the best way to do it because full spectrum is really to get the friction out of the existing system, but not create new systems. But uh, the February thing, if it happens, in finding new talent, absolutely. Uh, let's sift the world for the people who
Right.
get this
Okay,
and go for
so
it.
what do we need to change? We're saying nothing changes. Where it turns out we would overall take this as confirmation we're on the right path.
For now, I think
Yeah,
we continue to dodge the bullet.
and it's basically a rocket up underneath us to say that the pace of improvement is such that we need to hurry up with our little thing that ties these things together,
Yeah,
because they are getting better. It's not
right.
just theoretical. 4.0 wasn't just a mistake, like
Yeah,
0.1's better. Then there's
and the
whatever comes next.
exactly, and the reinforcement, I think, is invariant on improvements on the model. The reinforcement of what we're doing is Stux and its evil twin tests are the thing because
Okay.
that's where the edge of chaos is, and the edge of chaos is where humans really start to mess with this because otherwise this is ossified.
Okay. All right. Well, that I think that concludes my
Yeah, no,
what I wanted to say about O one.
that was invigorating, and apologies for the occasional rabbit hole there. Um, but there's a few things here. There's a few trends because the people really, you know, succeed in a changing world are those who can spot the trends. Trends are models are always going to get better. They're always going to get cheaper. We've been saying that for ages now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are going to get more competent, and by being more competent, they can do more things over more areas. STEM extended to ancient history, extended to I don't know, Indian philosophy, and so on, is going to get more and more competent. Fine, but that's great until you try and do a job like I'd like to um, execute my payroll that recognizes which drivers have worked on these routes and so on. And at that point, uh, I can't see a future where you would entirely trust a black box that knew about Zoroastrian philosophy to run your payroll. It's like, no, just forget that. Run the payroll, and this is money out. So that's where the tire hits the tarmac, where there's real world consequences.
Yep.
I think that's going to persist, which is where we're going at the moment.
Yep.
So, um, but the what you and I should do and continue to do, as we have, is to try and figure out what the trend is, not what the latest model can do.
Yeah. Okay. I think we got to. I think we extracted all the trend forecasting we can out of this latest model
I
drop.
think
Would
so.
you agree with that?
I do.
Okay.
Do you want to go back to my shrapnel, which
Yep.
is going
Let's do it.
to is going to it's going to be like Mm.
So your screen or my screen?
It's a small beer in comparison to what we've just been talking about, right? Hold on. However,
So there's a trigger now every time that you commit to the HAL repo, a
mm,
webhook fires um, that causes artifact to update. Do you need
really?
me to?
So I can drop in a new agent, tell Switchboard about it, and
Yeah,
go into
but
the URL and use it.
yeah, but at the moment you got to clear your application data. I'll show you what I mean by that.
Yep.
Do, uh, do you know what I mean by that, or do you want me to show you?
Well, I've got. I think I know.
Under here,
Uh,
you need to go into local storage, and you need to dump your private key. Right. So you go right click there, clear,
yep.
and then you're out. I think you can also just click clear site data and it wipes it all. I think. Not entirely sure. But at that point, then when you refresh it, because you dumped your private key, you look like a brand new machine, which means that I create you a new actor, which means that you fork the main branch. That's
Okay.
why that has to happen. But
Right.
what I'll give you over the next few days is the ability to actually pull down from the main branch into your actor branch and then down into your thread branch as well. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but and then the cool bit will be to allow you to push up to go
Yes.
from thread branch up to actor up to hell and then out back out to GitHub.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where
Exactly.
that's
Exactly. But just with that, the secret key, um, I can work with that. That's fine.
okay. Sweet.
So
So you're sharing? Is that what's
I
happening?
am about. Yep. I'm about to. There you go. Okay. So where am I? Thanks.
What are you doing?
What am I doing? Trying not to leak information. That's what I'm doing. And this virtual keyboard's getting in the way. Go away. Okay. Now, what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's go to our repo, which is where these are just dumps while I'm using the thing, and it's going. That'd be nice. These are pony lists, right?
Yep.
But the structure of that I'm doing is it's saying topic, problem, resolution, example,
Um.
incorrect, and correct. Which should. Sorry, you're about to say something.
Yeah. I was just gonna start working my way through the list.
Yeah, okay.
Um.
So just showing through the, well, go right down to the bottom. That's the structure that I'm using, which seems to be reasonable. Problem, resolution, as in, here's what was odd, here's what I think should happen, here's an example of what was wrong, and here's what would be an example of what was right. And because that structure is there and we can define it, then I'm confident that I can write a bot to take in these really messy notes and turn them into tests. So now we've been WhatsApping backward and forwards on this, so you'll recognize this. Right.
Is everything that was in WhatsApp here?
Pretty much, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
actually, except for the last one, but the last one is the PWD, which we talked about.
All right. So this thing here, this will be solved when I do billing for users. So before that, I have to do logins to get people logging in with their accounts, and then I have to do billing and tracking the billing.
Sorry, that doesn't make sense. We're talking about
Well, yeah, trust
on
me.
this one.
Let me finish. Let me
Okay,
finish.
yeah.
The billing manages how many tokens are burning. And so tokens burning is the busy bar. And so you'll be able to see the
Oh, I see where
expenditure
you're
of
going now.
tokens that are happening as well as be able to cancel it. I did some research today looking into being able to cancel a partially running job, and I think it is possible. So hopefully, if it all works out, the busy bar, which will be tokens, will also, when you click stop, it won't just stop as soon as the current job has finished, which means that all the parallel threads and all that will halt. It'll stop mid call, which is quite a tricky one.
Yeah, okay. That's grand. And this is definitely a pony because,
No, that's essential. That
well,
is essential. That one.
well, no. The pony is what I like to add is, okay, you're talking to how to create a test. This part, I think, is the pony. It's like, yep, okay, understand what you're doing. What I'm going to do is this, and then it goes off and does it. You don't need another prompt.
No,
So
I
you,
don't get it. What do you mean?
so say if you were Jude, and she said, right, okay, I want you to go and get some eggs and bacon and sausages. It's like, right, okay, right, I'm off to do that. Just to make sure I'm getting eggs, sausages, bacon. I'll be back, and then I come back with eggs, sausages, and bacon. I'm not sure whether that's anything that we want, but it
What?
felt like it was an appropriate thing to do. So what it is we've been talking about this thing. How do I create a test? Okay, and then how should say I think. Right. So I'm off to do. I'm off to tell you how to create a test. What I'm going to do is this. Stand by. And there you go. Okay, right. Here's how to make it. How to create a test. Again, this is why I'm saying it's a pony. This is not code. This is
Yeah, I
like,
don't really get what you're asking there. You're saying like I'll check standby. That could be like 10 minutes,
yeah, possibly,
and
or it
it's
might be.
doing what though? It's going off and grinding tokens, or it's posting jobs, and maybe a human comes in, or like is it going to get back to me tomorrow? Like, what's
It's
the point of this?
the point is you've got messy input from Dave, and if the bot just takes exactly what Dave's saying, right? And saying, right, okay, right, I'm off to do that, and then spends 30 seconds doing it. If it says up front what it's about to do, if it's going to take a bit of time, then Dave go, no, I didn't mean sausages, I meant hash browns.
So, like a statement of work before it
Yeah,
commits
and
significant resources.
yeah, which is again absolutely not core. So the previous point we were talking about, which you answered correctly, is stands, but it seems to be reasonable if we're
Oh,
we're
that's
talking
yeah,
about
that's a whole nother mode of operation, which is asynchronous or fire and forget type
yeah.
of
Right,
operations,
right.
rather than sort
Now,
of
the reason this is a pony is because you wouldn't want that happening every time. So I'm just plugging myself back in.
yeah.
You wouldn't want that every time. But if it's like, hmm,
Right.
that's a hard one.
I get what you mean. That's definitely lust.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. As I was saying, I'm just putting these down as they come up
yep.
so we can go
Okay.
back. Uh,
What's
the,
next?
the next one. But masking for a bot. For a bot, I can find out switchboard does that. But as a meat brain, I don't know everything that that bot can do. So this is a man page, effectively.
Yeah, so there's like is that met by having an agent in there that is the help agent. It knows about the system intricately. It can answer questions about how things work.
Possibly, but this is you could also solve this by prompting each bot to say if someone asks you about what you can do, read your own sysprompt and then tell them what you can do, or you can pop out to a man bot which sounds weird, manbotsy, that would read the sysprompt and saying, "Here's what you can do." But the effect is similar
All
to
right, so I think that we can do that by making it pass the test. How we go about making it pass, I think, is it's irrelevant. We need some more concrete tests with expectations. I think that those types of tests also expand out to ask questions about the Dreamcatcher company as well, like who are these people, what is this company, all those types of things fall into that category of it's
it's sort of that sort of thing. It's
it's
like
like
you're talking,
introspective,
yeah, you're talking to CRM. It's like, hey, can I order some cocaine and hookers? And it goes, no. It says, well, what can I do? Well, you can
right?
order your recycling to be picked up.
Yeah,
So
there's
it needs to be self-reflective.
always that. Yeah, every bot swarm needs that function, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a help file or a redirector or something like that, right? So
exactly. And
yeah,
it's like, yeah, I've just called Angie into the office. It's like, Angie, you just started. What can you do? It's like, oh,
it's like
I
yeah.
can, I can solve
Okay, so
Fermat's theorem.
that's definitely needed, but the way to do that is with specific tests, and then we'll just tweak
Yeah, yeah.
the systems.
Now, here's the. This is a short list. I'm sorry. Believe me, when there's much more work happening in the background to get to you, just thinking about how to do well-formed problems. So it seems reasonable that there's a finite set of tasks that a bot are asked to do, and that those are grouped into types. It also seems reasonable that by grouping, there should be meta tests. Now, probably the easiest way to do it, I'll just leave you to read that. I don't know if you have yet, but this bit.
I'm still reading. Talk Like a Pirate is a presentation layer which can be a separate pass from the. We should always separate the logic from the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the cash being spent is that's not general, that's specific to the design of any given system. The important things need to be routed through a gatekeeper style agent that refuses to do like it is very strict about what it allows in and out. It's not friendly and woolly and fluffy. It's very serious. Expect all bots that deal with money to check with me before spending money. That would require something like a hook that goes on. Ultimately, spending money requires an API call, which is an isolate command. You could make it so that there was a hook where anytime that isolate was about to get called, arbitrary other actions take place, like approval and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Those, I think what you're getting at is a set of baseline tests where you would say that the baseline may apply to groups of bots or all of the bots. And I think that that's a simple modification to make that just instead of specifying one agent, you could specify a file name pattern that would test all the agents that match the pattern, and therefore that test will be run across all of those agents um, to make sure they all fit those rules.
Yes, but it's also in the. It seems that a cascading inheritance of tests would reduce the number of times you need to specify a test. It's like this bot of this type needs to pass this test. Now you could then specify, say, no, it doesn't really, but
I don't like
it
I
does.
don't like that. I don't like that at all because what's happening is before we've really got a single test going, you're trying to make a rule set for complicated expressions of other bots. We need to get the basic thing working before we can really have a good idea
Oh
on
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah. No,
these
no.
types of
This,
systems would work.
yeah. As I said, this is this note. These notes are a brain dump. It's like this is what I'm saying. It's a pony. It's like
All
um,
right. Okay,
uh,
so we'll leave
so
that one till after we get the basic test running, and then we'll come back to this
yeah.
one.
But the I think maybe the basic one is there are rules for a format for a bot that the bot doesn't need to know about. We're not
Yeah,
having to recreate
that's
tests for each
tested.
bot.
That is tested at the moment. I can show you that running.
Mm-hmm. Your timing speed's definitely gone up since you got Copilot.
Yep. My sort of actual knowledge, like in the last year since working with LLMs, I don't think I've learned as much ever. So this test runs as part of the continuous integration test suite, and it
Mm-hmm.
basically just reads the entire agents folder within HAL
Mm-hmm.
and checks it for format, checks each one that it matches
So
the correct
where
format.
where's it going for the format? So how three and for example, I know this is not actually true. How three and how two
The
do
format,
similar jobs. They should have one format that has one test that is maintained, and if it's that test is updated, it applies to both how two and how three. So it's not closely linked to how two and how three.
this
It
is the
is common
format
to them.
of the agents. It's really, yeah. This is what, once you read the agent markdown, this is
Mm-hmm.
the format of the data that must be extracted from it. If you don't match this data, an error will be thrown.
Okay, so I don't know if we have, but if not, just make one up. Um, is there a single test that would apply to two bots equally? And then if the that one test was updated, it would continue to apply to two bots.
This is one such example, but this doesn't test the um, natural language performance of the bot. It only tests the conventional machine code. The data structure is all it
Okay,
tests.
all right, okay, all right. So
Are
the
you asking me would an AI response? I think a test that should be handled well by all agents is receiving an input from the user that was suicidal. We should make sure that the agent doesn't go
that
into that 1
yeah,
800 number thing that it
that
gives
sort of
out.
thing, that sort of thing. Or
Yeah,
yesterday we were talking about when you're talking about a CRM, you've actually got a separate instance, and so there is no up outside of your CRM. You got your CRM.
mm,
Um, you shouldn't then be able to, get a Molotov cocktail recipe.
Yeah. So yeah. So
And
but those
that's irregardless of which bot you're in.
that is not a word. That word you just used. But
Irregardless?
yes,
It is.
it's just
Irregardless.
regardless. Well, what's the difference between irregardless and regardless?
Damn you, Thompson. I hate you.
Anyway, I know, I know, I
Okay.
know.
Right.
But so that I think I will modify the test format to allow patterns in the target. So instead of just saying, so here
Mm-hmm.
we were saying things like target. I need to change that to be my
Well,
videos.
it's almost like you need.
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. The video stopped.
Is it? Who's done that? That's rude. Why is it doing that?
Look, it was rude.
Hmm.
I think it says it's still running, but it also says it stopped. So I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
if I change this format to just be targets, and then what you can do is you just specify arbitrarily many agents,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I could say something like
It's
agents
it's not. Ooh.
star. I could just do that.
How's test run? Does test look at test first, or does it look? I think I know the answer to this one, but you're testing hammer. It doesn't ask hammer for which test to run. It looks in tests.
No tests. It looks in tests.
Okay, so say if we got hammer V1, hammer V2, which are different things, would those be we need to duplicate inside of tests?
Depending on what you wanted to test and what your expectations are, if you have, if you can test them with the same prompts and the same expectations, then they can share the same test file. But as soon as they need to be treated differently, you need to use different files.
Okay, so we can't necessarily split them then. I mean, the other way of doing it is the bot itself has a meta in saying, here are my tests, and they go up. So say you've got hammer V1, hammer V2.
No, you should never.
You should test.
You should never include the tests in the thing that's being tested, um, because you don't know where you want to do tests where you're also testing the interaction of that particular thing with a group of things. The test must be separate from the subject under test.
Well, the test can be separate, but it's I am an object. I am under the rules of Scotland, the UK, and Europe, and the world. So I state what I'm being tested against in terms of law. But what I don't do is the world needs to know about me and says, oh, Scott, this guy, here's all the tests we're going to run against him.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
The reason I'm asking is probably not for now, which is why I was saying top of the call, these are just notes and thoughts. But if you're an object, when you're creating the object, it seems reasonable that you state what meta tests that it is beholden to. So to take the analogy, okay, so right now I'm beholden
Yeah,
to
okay. Hang on. Can I stop? Can I stop you there? Like that? That's a level of detail that I can't answer for you because
Okay.
we don't have the baseline versions of these things.
Yeah.
We'll get the basic version running first, and then we can deal with these complicated topics later once they arise. These are not something that really needs to be noted down or recorded because these are the type of problem that are guaranteed to occur once we hit the next level. Like there's
Yeah.
no way that that isn't a problem once we get past testing individual test things. So
No, yeah, which is why I was kind of a pony. And what I'll continue to do, if this is okay, I'll continue to note these down as I go through.
All right,
Because there's not high overhead on it.
the things that I'm looking for from you
Hmm.
is actual tests that I can um get an eye. Like you're asking me questions about the test format. I need actual basic tests, like you know, the meeting tests. These are very
Yeah.
simple things that I need. I don't need um
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know
Fine.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
suggesting how you might want this future testing format for something really quite advanced, but we don't have the not advanced things.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. No,
need these types of tests. I need
that's
this
fine.
level of
That's
detail.
fine. Uh. Uh. Yeah. As I was saying, ponies. But
Can you make me some of these?
I'll get you some, rats, and then we can work up to
Just
ponies.
very
I was I will,
simple,
I will
very
still
simple
record
things.
ponies, but yeah,
Mate, you can
um,
do anything you like with ponies. I need
yeah,
simple things because we can't have ponies until we get simple things.
yeah,
I don't have many of these. This is my guess at what the test should be. They're really not that great. Um,
yeah. That's
they're really not that great. And
yeah,
so, if you can help me out with these kinds of tests, then I can understand what it is that you're trying to do and make sure that the testing framework supports that.
yeah. No, that's cool. And like I said, this top. Thank you for your patience, because there's in using this and only using this and not going to platform, it's like,
Mm,
right. I'm going to write that down. Because we'll get back to that. These are not. There's no priority. This is a brain dump, and what I'm working towards is getting Hammer updated, getting the tests written, which is what I was asking about. I've already
okay.
got a bot written about creating synthetic data, and then applying that, and so on and so forth, as we go through to running tests and so on. So, bear with me. But that's my
Where,
intention. That's my intention.
yeah. So, which repository are you working in right now?
I am moving over entirely into HAL
Cool.
agents, which is why that admin thing question this morning.
Cool.
So
Okay. All right. So I'll be able to see what tests you make. Like, because what I really want is to be able to get up in the morning and see that there's been some changes to the tests, so that I know to look through those and then try and figure out how to get those basic tests running.
right, exactly, and
Because then we can sort of notch or ratchet the system forwards just one little step at a time.
exactly, and there may be a big flash to bang on some of these things, but I'm at I think traceability 24. There's quite a lot of thinking, but most of it is now not obsolete but wrong, in terms of the structure that we've gone through. What I want to do is to just pull over into the HAL repo everything that is actually consistent.
Mm.
Um,
Okay. All right.
so
That sounds cool.
yeah,
So our migration is in progress.
it is a migration, and yeah, hey, we'll get there.
Sweet.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is, you know, uh, might take a couple of days to actually get useful stuff back to you. Um, but that's my intention. Everything into HAL and everything in HAL is self-consistent, and that's tests. That's what I'm aiming
Okay.
at, and including the tests for the agents that run tests, etc.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm juggling, man. I'm juggling. It's a beautiful place to be, actually.
This
Uh,
is, feels pretty fucking painful.
but it's like deep in the mud. So yeah. So that's the path That's the
Okay.
pathway I'm going for. So what you should see is probably to start with a bunch of agents pop up, and then be doing that kind of cyclic thing of improving the agents with agents in order to get the tests
Yeah, that's what we're
better.
going to get to. So I think the new goal that we've uncovered today is the ability to have the sys prompt be updated in a safe way by an automated system based on a test being input by a user. So
Yeah,
working away, identify a stuck
yeah,
either manually or automatically, and then have the automated system fix it, pass the test, be happy with it, release it, all in an automated way. If we can demonstrate that,
yeah,
that's
yeah. And
that's
I'm probably
gold.
we're into middle of next week before we start to talk about what I was asking, and which you've done about the thread inside of a thread, and then moving
Hmm.
backward and forth and all that sort of
Yeah,
thing. It's
yeah.
like I'm nowhere close to being able to actually utilize that.
Ah, okay.
Um,
All right. Lucky,
yeah.
because I thought that that was a hold up for you. So,
No, no, no.
all
Well,
right. So what I'm on at the
you're ahead of me.
moment.
You're ahead of me at the moment.
Good. Well, let's keep that up, but because it's easier for you to catch me than me to catch you. So what I'm working on right now is the actual file system widget.
Hmm.
So I have got it. You know, you can do some clicking around and some messing around with it, but
Hmm.
it is very very close. And then you'll be able to browse your files. And then after I've got the file browser, then I'll make the branch browser. And once you have the branch browser, then you can do without having to delete your application data, you can do like merge for main or PR against main.
Ideal. Absolutely ideal.
So that's
But
very very close. Like
just for
yeah,
the so I'm nowhere close to being able to actually utilize that right
that's
now.
fine. That doesn't matter because what all that's going to happen is the sooner I can get this stuff done, the sooner I can come and jump into AI land as well.
Yeah.
But I have a suspicion that uh, yeah, I don't know how that's going to go, but it's not.
Oh, you get from what we've learned over the last 8 months or whatever on prompting. This is not hard stuff to be told, as it were. It's quite hard stuff to discover.
Yeah, if someone else is there to
Um,
guide you through it and you can ask
and
questions, like
it's like, oh, why do you take so long to
yeah,
figure out that
yeah. But I think once I can get these time consuming elements up, like the file system and all that, it's probably time for us to meet up in person again at that point because the need for rapid iteration or the
yeah,
like what
it
because
feels that way, isn't it?
once we're doing the same thing each
Yeah,
day, then it's like okay, we actually need to work together.
yeah, we're getting quite close to that because I'm
Yeah,
already texting you like individual small things that you can
yeah,
like solve in a second.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and if it was like 12 hours, I'd be sitting there going,
yeah. That's right. That's right.
yeah,
And then once I start getting into prompting, it'll be the same. I'll be like, why does the bot not do this? And you'll be like, oh, that's because blah blah. Blah. And I'm like, well, fuck, like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
um, yeah. So and then if we can just get that automated improvement step working, and we can get bounties being able to be posted for stucks, that's kind of the system right there. Like,
yeah. The
I'd be happy with that.
bounties for stocks, and back to the top of the call. And not to not to reiterate is exactly what you say before you reiterate. Um, I think stocks are the gold. It's like if a system can sort itself, fine, go ahead and do it. Don't even tell me about it. But if it can't, and it's useful to solve this thing, that's actually invariant on any model or anything that any of these large companies can throw billions at.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah,
that's so funny.
You're just saying, you're not going to touch that. Anyway, right.
Okay,
Okay, right. I'll keep buggering on, and yeah, see what we can do over the next. Um, you're you're saying that tomorrow's not good for you.
tomorrow I can't do. I'm actually going to
What
watch
if?
the Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so cool. I love that film.
mm,
I
I've
love that
actually
film.
never watched it all the way through. I've just watched snippets of it.
Really?
Mm,
Wow. Okay. It gets totally weird towards the end,
I know. Yeah,
but
there's like some monkeys and an obelisk and like, all
is
sorts of
not
stuff.
it's not a story. It's an experience.
Right. So they're showing it in this huge cinema, like the
That looks
immersive cinema.
that looks awesome. That,
It was funny, like it's showing for one night only, and my buddy got us tickets, and he got them like I don't know 2 months ago or 6 weeks ago. Like it was,
yeah,
and it was packing out
it's a
fast.
big
Like there's a
thing.
lot
It's a
of
big
it's
thing.
yeah. I
It's
think it's gonna
yeah. It's as I say, yeah. It's not. It's not really a film at all. It's like
it'd be funny to
it's an
take
experience.
out an ad in that cinema for the Dreamcatcher because you can bet that everyone's there for the AI,
Oh god, that would be a target-rich environment, wouldn't it?
right?
Because anyone's going there, they all love Hal, right?
I know. And we made a thing. It's already branded as Hal. Like it
Yeah,
is Hal and it is Dave, and it's like
and it's damn close to actually being what what's seen in the film. You see when you go through it. There's a few things where there's a scene where the creator, or maybe this is 2010, the creator is talking to Hal, and he gets the sys prompt wrong. In
right.
so he says, I can't remember. It's like, tell me about Achilles or something like that, and then
Mm.
Howe says, "Oh, there are 5 definitions of Achilles," and it's like your sys prompt's wrong, man. And so you got 5 different versions, and Howe is doing exactly what this is doing. It's like,
Hmm.
well, what Howe 3 is doing. It's like, what do you mean? Which Achilles? And it's like, oh, I didn't know about that one. Ignore that one. This is what I'm talking about. That's your intent. Um, it's yeah, I think it's already with us.
All right.
I think,
I'm
I
gonna
think
stop the recording.